friends! Today we are talking about why autistics tend to be very vulnerable people, so please stick around. Hi friends! My name is Claire and this is my channel, Woodshed Theory. Here I make content about what it is like to live as an adult on the autism spectrum and whatever else feels good to me. So if that sounds good to you, or if you're feeling particularly gracious today, and I hope that you are, please go ahead and click the subscribe button, ring the bell. I almost forgot to mention that I put out videos 3 times a week. Vulnerability. A comment I get a lot from people on my channel, and that I read a lot on other people's channels in the ASD community, is the following. Thank you so much for being so vulnerable. You are really helping me or others. Or something like, you're very brave for being so open. Your honesty is very refreshing. Things of this nature. As an autistic person, I initially found this comment puzzling. I don't feel that I am particularly open or vulnerable. I feel like I'm just giving you the straight truth, the facts. It is how I naturally communicate. Additionally, I find that most people on the spectrum deal with the issue of oversharing. If you are on the spectrum, you probably just shook your head yes. However, I have since learned that this is not the way that most people communicate, read neurotypicals. So I thought it warranted a video where we should discuss this topic. From what I gather, the neurotypical person is in general more guarded and has more of a sense of social hesitancy with what most would consider personal information, which is pretty interesting because neurotypicals are better at being social. Autistic people do not seem to have the same guardedness and have no issues with being what a neurotypical would consider vulnerable. I have come up with some reasons I believe this may be the case. Number 1, autistic people value directness and factualness. We don't excel at reading between the lines or doing any invisible social dance. We say what we mean when we mean it. We usually don't consider the impact of the information as we equate truth with good and lies with bad. To heck with the consequences. 2, the idea of personal boundaries in information doesn't always make sense to us. We are free to share any information with those around us that we consider a fact. We don't naturally understand what is socially appropriate to share and what is socially appropriate not to share, or whom the information is appropriate to share with. These things are possible for ASD people to learn, but they don't come naturally to us. I've learned a lot over the years, but that has been through many instances of trial and error. I remember my father always telling me things like, that was family business, when I shared information with people outside of our circle, and I didn't think at the time that it was a huge deal, but now as an adult, I know better and I understand that it was a big deal. Number 3 reason why we're probably good at being vulnerable. Contrary to popular belief, not all autistic people are uninterested in human relationships. I have found that many are interested in interacting, especially with other autistic people. We desire close relationships, and fact sharing about ourselves is how we believe is the best way to get there. 4, we are overly trusting of the people around us. We assume the good in people and assume that our personal information is safe. I should mention that I'm not talking about personal information like your social security number or address or something of that nature. We are usually pretty good on those things actually. But what I am talking about is personal details, personal life stories about who you are on the inside. Number 5, especially when undiagnosed, I know especially for me, we have a desperate need to feel understood by people, anyone who we meet. I would just figure that the easiest way for that to happen wouldn't be to let things develop over time, but just info dump on a person in a quick fashion, and then bam, you have yourself in the middle of a deep relationship. This may play into the whole no small talk thing that autistic people are known for. We just like to get the information downloaded into the matrix as quickly as possible. In reference to being vulnerable, I've actually found that I've become much more reserved with my personal self as I've aged. Probably because I've learned over the years to follow more social cues, and because I've learned that you really can't trust everyone you meet right from the get-go. I've become better at remembering that. I still feel like I overshare sometimes, especially during off-the-cuff social interactions, which is why I appreciate YouTube as a platform, because it gives me the opportunity to edit myself if I feel I've shared too much after assessing my words. Positive things about being more vulnerable. It does help you connect with people on a deeper level more quickly. I don't tend to be as shy about sharing myself with others. Negative things. First, it gives people a false sense of intimacy. Maybe that isn't what you were actually going for. You might have just been being friendly. People can sometimes get the idea that you are more close than you think, or perhaps that, in romantic situations that you're flirting with them when you're just sharing information because you're being so open. Another thing is that you're more likely to be taken advantage of when sharing yourself with other people more easily. It's just a risk you take being a vulnerable person. The issue with autism is that you can't read the other half of the relationship, so you don't know if it's okay to be vulnerable. You really have to be careful. So I would say, yes, autistic people, in my opinion, can find it easier than neurotypical people to be vulnerable. However, we aren't really doing it on purpose or trying to be vulnerable. It is just a part of the way that we communicate. I hope this has made sense, as I'm always trying to explain these weird autism concepts that are on my mind, and I'm not sure if I always do a great job with it, so thank you for your patience. So, what do you think? Do you think autistic people are more natural at being vulnerable with others? Do you feel this way about yourself? I have a feeling that many of you will actually be on the opposite end of the spectrum and feel like you're not vulnerable at all. But it's nice to remember that all autistic people are different, and that's what makes our community awesome. I would love it if you shared your experience in a comment down below. Also, if you could hit the like button before you leave, that will help others see this video. It really helps me out, so thank you for that. That is everything I have for you today. I hope that you have a great weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye!